The European Union wants to lift border restrictions to revive tourism and save jobs ahead of the summer holidays. It has set out plans for a phased restart of travel. Europe's travel industry has been hit hard by COVID-19 lockdowns, particularly in the passport-free Schengen zone, where there are no border checks. Tourism accounts for 10% of the EU's GDP. Several countries are already taking steps to restore travel. The three Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, will reopen borders to each other from Friday. Austria and Germany will also ease restrictions this week. Britain, meanwhile, is advising citizens against all overseas travel. It's warning people not to take a chance by going on summer holidays. Now, Lucy Hough joins us from Brussels for more on this story. Lucy, what guidelines has the EU recommended to restore freedom of movement?
What the European Commission has announced today is a two-phased approach to restoring freedom of movement in Europe and allowing countries, particularly within the Schengen zone, to reopen their borders within the EU's internal borders. So what we're looking at is the creation of so-called green zones, i.e. countries with a relatively low level of COVID-19 risk, something that moving forward will be assessed by Europe's health agency, the ECDC. If countries have a similar risk profile, they will allow some freedom of movement within those countries, between those countries. So, for example, between those three Baltic states that you mentioned. So what we are likely to see is travel clusters, regional travel with which there is some limited freedom of movement, but it will only be in phase 2 that we will see the restoration of full freedom of movement within the Schengen zone.
Lucy, any plans to prevent a new wave of infections resulting from the opening up of these borders?
Yes, the European Commission has been clear that safety is at the heart of everything that it wants to do moving forward, and it is asking that states coordinate on this, perhaps slightly better than they did at the start of the crisis. Border control is a national competence, which means it's into the hands of individual governments. They decide what to do, and so far the European Commission has struggled somewhat to give clear guidance, and countries have been doing their own thing. Certainly the EU Commission is hoping that will be different as we come out of the pandemic. It has been clear that what it wants is health and safety checks at border crossings and on public transport. So, for example, for EU citizens and foreign travellers to wear face masks on aeroplanes or in the communal areas of hotels. There may even be health checks at border crossings. So, and we may also see an EU-wide contact tracing app, with the EU due to announce its guidelines on a protocol for those apps. That will be key to releasing some of the restrictions that we're seeing at the moment.
All right. Thanks for that update. Lucy Hough speaking to us from Brussels.